What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burning Hammer podcast. I'm your host, Mark Izzo, and alongside me every single week is your other host, Dillon O'Brien, your current Burning Hammer podcast predictions champion of the world. Dillon, what's life like being a champion?
It's great. The champ still does have things he has to adhere to, though. New semester of school starting this week. But that's not going to slow us down. It's not going to slow down the pod. It's not going to slow down the world of professional wrestling. Got some great stuff to talk about. But we also have some really sad stuff to talk about as well. So it's definitely I'm excited to be back here and to talk pro wrestling with you, Mark. Because we've got a lot of great stuff to talk about, but also it's definitely with a heavy heart that we do this episode this week because faced huge loss in wrestling this week, a tragic loss.
Yeah, and before we get into that, I would just like to show off my t-shirt. This one, again, got it off Poshmark. Great deal. Talked about it last week. I think it was like $25 for it. Honestly, it may be my favorite shirt that I own currently. If not, definitely top 2, top 3. And so Dillon, why don't you try to attack me right now? But before you do that, I just want you to know that I'm protected by D-Generation X.
Hell yeah. What a cop.
Hell yeah.
You might have to wear that to Raw 30.
I'm gonna. I decided.
I think I'm gonna wear my my vintage Triple H shirt.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
We'll both be rocking some nice shit.
Yeah.
It's a great shirt.
I'm officially out, but I will say this: next week at some point, I'm going to be posting my entire professional wrestling t-shirt collection exclusively on YouTube and the website. So definitely make sure to subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date with when that gets released. Dillon, we got to get started with the episode, and we are going to start with some tragic news, and that is the passing of Jay Briscoe on Tuesday night. Jay Briscoe passed away in a car crash along with one other person, and there was 2 other people involved in the car accident. And it's just awful news. 2023 is off to a really bad start. Jay Briscoe, I haven't watched a lot of him, but I know the impact that he's had on not only tag team wrestling, but as on professional wrestling as a whole. He held 18 different championships throughout his career, wrestling for over 20 years. He is the face of ROH. If you think ROH, you think Jay Briscoe, you think Mark Briscoe, you think the Briscoes. So it is definitely a huge loss, not only for ROH, not only for professional wrestling, but for the world as a whole.
Yeah, it's really tragic news. Like you said, it's so unfortunate at 38 years old to be taken so young like that. It really makes you think about life and just how short it is and how precious it is. And one thing I want to say about Jay Briscoe is like me and Mark didn't know him personally. And me and Mark aren't the biggest Ring of Honor fans, and we weren't growing up watching Ring of Honor hardcore. But one thing I can say is, as long as I've heard of Jay Briscoe and the Briscoes, I've been a fan of the Briscoe brothers because they've not only helped, establish Ring of Honor, and there would be no Ring of Honor, and there would probably be so many wrestlers that we know and love today that probably wouldn't be here without the Briscoes. And even though that's, they represented Ring of Honor so well, they also transcended Ring of Honor. And in my opinion, the Briscoes were bigger than Ring of Honor. I think the Briscoe brother is the Briscoe brothers is a bigger name than Ring of Honor wrestling.
And which I think we saw that with the outpour of people over social media that were talking about the influence that they had on them. On NXT, they sort of mentioned it and offered their condolences along with the rest of WWE on social media. So that really just goes to show like they are bigger than just Ring of Honor, and they just like meant the world to the professional wrestling world.
Yeah, like the one thing that you see as a constant in all of these like super sad posts that everyone is posting their words and memories of Jay Briscoe. Um, and you know the one thing that stands out in every single post is everyone recognizes just how kind he was and how great of just like a how much he loved his family and how much of a family man he was. And I mean specifically that second one, I mean every single person could not stress enough how excited this man was to talk about his family and to be around his family, and how much he just loved his family so much. um and you know they need our prayers right now. Uh both two of his both his daughters were unfortunately in the car with him, you know, when he did get into the crash that took his life. But fortunately, both his daughters survived. And you know, one thing I can tell you for sure out of everything that everyone has said about Jay Briscoe and everyone that knows him and loves him so much, I think that like if he had to, if that was the outcome he knew was happening, that he'd be okay with that if it meant that his girls were going to be okay. Um, and that I think just shows you how great of a man he was and how great of a human he was. And how much of an impact he had on wrestling, man. He was just like so. I mean, maybe one of the most believable guys in the world when it came to cutting a promo and stuff. Like the Briscoe thing, it never seemed like a gimmick. It never seemed like a character. It just seemed like these are the Briscoes. And it's just so unfortunate. So our prayers are with the Pugh family. Jamin Pugh was his real name. And yeah, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Dem Boys forever, one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and they're probably the greatest tag team to never step foot into WWE. And yeah, just he leaves behind a legacy of, you know, his fans and family and wrestlers and people that really loved him and really appreciated him. So rest in peace, Jay Briscoe, and our prayers and condolences out to you know, Mark Briscoe and Jay's wife and his entire family and everyone that loved him and cared about him. So our prayers to the
Yeah, and so it's just also important to remember that he was much more than a professional wrestler. You know, the world lost a father, a husband, a brother. So definitely our condolences out to him, his friends, his family, everyone affected by this. So yeah, we're going to move on to some news that me and Dillon have, that we will be attending Raw is 30 on Monday night. Me and Dillon, it's in Philly. That is our hometown. We will be in attendance. You know, if this gets enough views, maybe we'll jump the barricade. Maybe we'll go in there, cut a promo. But you know, that all depends
yeah,
on
you
you
never
guys.
know what could happen. It's all
Yeah.
up to you guys.
I'll say this. This gets 50,000 likes. That's a thing. 50,000 likes. Me and Dillon will jump the barricade. So,
Yes,
um,
100%.
so let's make that happen. We're super stoked for it. The card is honestly really stacked. You know, you got the United States Championship match. You've got the steel cage match. You've got like every generation of the Bloodline's going to be there. The Rock could possibly show up. Ric Flair is going to be there. Legends will be there. So we're super pumped for it. Like we were talking about
Yeah.
it. This
Do
we
you
may
think they're
be
gonna
more
bring back the
excited.
old set?
Oh, that would, yeah.
Do you think they will?
Um, I think it could just be like themed, like the old theme. I don't know if they're gonna
Yeah,
like. I think they'll
like
still
the
have
old
their
entrance
thing.
ramp. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they could. That they should. That would be sick.
Dude, that would be so awesome. That's what people have been talking about online, that if they do that, because they've really been pushing this like Raw is 30, like Raw is War, like old
Yeah,
school shit. So if they come back one night with that, like when they just dropped like that old school style promo with all the current wrestlers, um So hopefully they do, dude. That would be sick.
Yeah, we're super pumped for it.
Taker.
Yep.
Taker's gonna be there.
Yeah. I mean, do you think The Rock's gonna show up?
Part of me thinks it makes more sense for him to show up on Raw than the Rumble. And then if he shows up on Raw, he doesn't have to win the Rumble.
Yeah. And
he doesn't have to win the Rumble regardless.
Yeah, I want to make this very clear. Yeah, I want to make. We're going to talk about it right now because people were talking about having The Rock return at the Rumble. I want to make this very clear. The Rock does not need to win the Royal Rumble match. He is the fucking Rock. He does not have to win. He could come back and just say, Roman, I'm The Rock. I'm better than you. Like, I'm the head of the table, and just challenge him. He doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble.
They're related. Yeah. It's a thing. Like, the storyline is already made. The storyline was made the second the Tribal Chief storyline began.
Yeah.
It was culminating to that point with him beating The Rock. That's what's got to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to disappoint everybody at the Royal Rumble, but I'm speaking it into existence right now. Everyone attending the Royal Rumble probably spending more money on tickets than we did for this Raw. You might be disappointed. Because although you may get the return of Cody Rhodes, I think we're getting the return of The Rock at Raw 30. I really think it might happen.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense.
Into existence.
Speak it into existence. Put it out there.
Do that. They can't have every generation of like the bloodline there and not feature The Rock when there's been like talks of The Rock returning. And
maybe it'll just be a video package. Who knows? But
I mean, they also just released new merch for The Rock on WWE Shop. They have that one shirt.
They just started dropping a bunch of his matches on YouTube too.
Yeah, they got a new shirt that just has a bull skull on it that's Royal Rumble themed. So sorry guys, but Philly is The Rock. Rock is Raw 30.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, really, it makes more sense for him to come out on Raw 30.
Yeah. The go home Raw and Raw 30th anniversary. He was an integral part of Raw for so many years in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Like The Rock was Raw.
Literally up until the inception of SmackDown, because literally they were just like, we have The Rock and Stone Cold. Let's make two shows, basically. And then they were like, Stone Cold has Raw, The Rock has SmackDown. That's how it was after that. But yeah, definitely don't forget that The Rock, he was there. He was there on Raw, baby. Yeah. He was getting into it.
Yeah, dude. So like, I don't know. I'm pretty pumped for it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
The entire card's awesome. I don't know if I've watched. This could be the first time I've seen a steel cage match live in person. I know we saw the Fight Pit at Extreme Rules. United States Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory, which is funny because I was looking up prices of the tickets on Wells Fargo, and I thought they had a spoiler because the one thing on it said United States Championship match, Austin Theory versus Seth Rollins, and that was like before that match on Raw this past Monday night, and I was like, damn, like I just got the Raw main event spoiled for me, and like I almost texted you and like I almost tweeted about it. But then thankfully I didn't because Bobby Lashley ended up winning.
They were trying to swerve us.
That Becky versus Bayley steel cage match.
Yeah,
would be sick. We got the tag team match, Usos versus the Judgment Day. Although I don't know if you saw, but Judgment Day's got a new name now.
What?
Judgment Day. They just dropped the E.
Wait, what?
They dropped the E in Judgment Day.
Why?
I think because like legality purposes. I think because they like the Judgment Day pay-per-view or something. I saw a headline about it, so
now they're Judgment Day
without the E in Judge.
Okay, it's weird.
It is weird. I just thought I had to bring it up because it was super weird. But yeah, they're facing the Usos for just the Raw tag team titles.
Yeah, that's the thing
So
that people have been talking about a lot, is that the fact that it's just for the Raw titles.
yeah, so do you think they're going to break up the tag titles on Raw is 30?
I don't think so. I really don't. I just think I think we were kind of briefly talking about it before the pod started, but I think they are probably just trying to ease us into showing us that they're gonna split the titles. I think it would just be way too obvious for it to be just for the Raw titles and then just have them win. I think it would be like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I don't think they're going to the Judgment Day are the ones to dethrone
Unless that's the main
title
event. Unless that's the main event, and like the fucking
Raw?
Rock yeah, and like the Rock costs it, or like Solo costs it in turns. Something crazy.
Nah, they got
Or Sammy. What if Sammy costs them? And they turn on Sammy at Raw 30. And The Rock comes out to save him.
That could happen. That is something that could happen. I just think, I don't know. I don't think that Judgment Day without an E is the team that's going to dethrone or take any title off of the Usos. And honestly, I was kind of hoping they would just unify the titles, get one set, and just roll with one set of tag team championships, because I know we discussed it before, but like having two tag titles, and it seems like they don't have enough tag teams really, or at least they're not pushing enough tag teams, because they do have a lot of talent there in the tag team division. But I mean, you said it before on like Raw, it just feels like the Alpha Academy are like the only tag.
Yeah, it was like, especially while the Street Profits were out. It literally felt, I was like, dude, the Alpha Academy is like the only tag team until Judgment Day started coming around.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. We're super pumped for it. We're trying to like go to almost every WWE show at least that's in the Philly area, because we just realized we don't go to that many of wrestling events, and so that's definitely something that for 2023 we're going to try to hit a bunch of different wrestling shows. We're trying to get media passes, which would be super sick. So hopefully that happens. The person,
Yeah, we'll get that soon. We'll have media passes by WrestleMania 40 in Philly.
yeah, and
It's gonna be lit.
yeah, because the person that handles media passes and stuff, they just left WWE.
Yeah, they just left WWE. So I don't know if it's I don't know the terms of, but people said good things about him. It's a shame that as soon as like we started to get in contact with him, it's a shame on our part. But congratulations on a very long career to Adam Hopkins.
Yeah, shout out to you, Adam. If you want to come
and
work for the Burning Hammer, we'll
yeah, you could be our media relations guy.
Yeah. You know, we don't know how much we can pay you, but
Yeah.
we'll give you a good time. That's for sure.
What do you say? Let's get into these Rumble things.
Yeah. The Rumble things that we're getting into are, last week we did 3 women that need to win the Royal Rumble match. This week we are doing 3 men that need to win the Royal Rumble match. The key word is need. It's not who we think's going to win. It's not really who deserves to win. It's the person that needs to win. And Dillon, why don't you kick us off with someone who you think needs to win the Royal Rumble?
So I'll get this one out of the way. I think it's the most obvious choice, and like I said, I'll just get it out of the way first because everyone knows it's coming, and that's Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes has pretty much felt like the guy to take at least one of the titles off Roman since his debut. Roman has pretty much defeated literally everybody, so it would just feel weird having him lose the titles to somebody that he's already beaten, in my opinion. Like Drew or like a KO, or like a Seth. Seth actually, but maybe let's not say Seth, because Seth, you can make a case for. Actually, that's a bad take. I take that back. But
too late.
You know what I mean.
You already said it. Too late.
You know what I mean, though. Yeah. So it's just like, and like I said, when Cody comes back, I think this injury, is maybe. It obviously wasn't a blessing, but like a blessing in disguise booking wise, for Cody.
Yeah, timing
because
for sure.
for timing wise, because I think it would have been really hard to have all that pop behind Cody beating Rollins 3 times in a row, and then just going and not going after the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder what he
And
would
then
have
if he
done.
lose, yeah, I know. And then it's like if he does lose, like all his momentum is squashed by Roman, and
Yeah.
it's like so that's what I mean by it was probably kind of a blessing in disguise. So while I do think they could probably get away with one more Cody feud with somebody before they have him go after um at least one of the titles,
They're probably gonna
most like
have to.
what do you mean?
Like, you think he's gonna feud with Roman from if he wins the Rumble for 3 months without winning the title?
What do you mean?
Like, if he wins the Royal Rumble match, I
Who
think he's
else would
gonna
he feud with?
I mean, maybe Seth. I mean, it's just gonna be something small, possibly Austin Theory. But I don't think because they're not gonna do that match at, like, Money in the Bank, or
All
Elimination
right, but they're
Chamber.
not going to do all right, but they're not going to do like what do you mean?
Like, they're not gonna have Cody versus Roman, like how they hold on to feuds. Like, I think their first match is gonna be at Mania. So, like,
Yeah, no,
what's he
totally.
gonna
Why would
do? Are they just gonna cut promos from January to April? Like, I think he's gonna need a little feud.
I think they can build it up. I think he can probably wrestle like they might do something, but they're not going to do anything proper.
Do you think that they could do
Like he
something
might
with
beef with like
Cody?
Solo or like something like I think there's like he could do like stuff within the bloodline. Um Maybe they'll try to like if Cody wins, maybe they'll try to go like team up Cody, KO and Sammy and do like um a weird thing at like a 6-man tag sort of thing at Elimination Chamber or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I just mean like if Cody wins, we went like super off topic kind of. If Cody wins, he's I just don't think that like how are you gonna put him in a proper feud with somebody else before after he just
You
won the Royal Rumble?
just give him a small feud.
No, that's
Maybe
what I mean. Like maybe a small feud, maybe like one more one-off match against Seth, I guess. And Seth is like, I want it. I want the main event spot. And it's like,
or what they could also do is maybe have, like, Cody team up, like you just said, with Seth, since Seth is babyface now, to take on, like, the Usos or Sammy and Solo to, like Seth's like, "Listen, man, I know we went to war with each other, but
mhm.
someone's got to dethrone Roman, and I think currently you're facing him at Mania, so I'm gonna help you because I know Roman. I've known Roman for a long time, so I'm gonna make sure you get there and you get healthy because once you're the champion, I want to be the first person you defend the title against. Like I could see them doing something like that in the lead.
Maybe. I think, but anyway, I'm gonna get back onto the main thing of like he needs to win the Royal Rumble. Because like I said, regardless, like we went off topic there, but um, if you have Cody Rhodes return, and I'm saying if what I was trying to say was I think you could have Cody Rhodes. I think you could get away with having Cody Rhodes return and have one more proper feud um, before he goes after the title. But that would mean he doesn't win the Rumble. That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't win, I think they could possibly get away with that, but it would be like really risky. I think it would be testing people's patience. I think you would there was unless it's like a really good feud, there would be people like um I think you may have like a D-Bry scenario once again where people really really want Cody. Um but yeah, I just think he needs to win. He was so hot since coming back to the company, and this having him away for this time, especially in the time he's been away, there's been so much change for the company. Triple H has gained creative control. Vince has left and come back and all this fucking stuff, but he I think we're in store for a great run from the American Nightmare. So yeah, I think he's a very obvious choice of someone who needs to win the Rumble. Because he's, if not the most over guy on the roster, he's one of them.
Yeah, and I have the second most obvious person who you could also make another great case for, and that is Seth Rollins. Now, Seth Rollins has been the face of WWE for the past year or two. Doesn't matter what feud he's in, he elevates the person he's going against, and he always makes his matches and his feuds feel like the most important, despite never really going after a main event title. I mean, he's helped elevate the US title, and he's helped elevate wrestlers that he's been going against. And he's also done a lot of losing. I think it was either 2022 or 2021. He had the most losses on the year out of anyone on the entire roster. And so someone who's just been consistently putting out great work, great matches, great feuds, great storylines. I think he's someone who deserves it, and he's someone who needs to win it to sort of give him that edge back, build up his accomplishments. And I think that him versus Roman, again, the storyline is there, the history is there. I think Seth freaking Rollins is someone who absolutely needs to win the Royal Rumble match, because I feel like there is an argument that you could make to say that Cody actually doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble, and that he can just come back and just challenge Roman straight up, because it seems like that's what he was going to do as soon as he returns. He said the one thing he wanted was the WWE Championship, the one thing that Dusty Rhodes could never win. So I think you could make the argument that Cody could just come back and just straight up challenge Roman for the WWE title, similar to how The Rock could come back and just straight up challenge him for the Universal Championship. So one of my choices for someone who needs to win is Seth freaking Rollins. Dillon, who's your second?
So my second choice is going with Gunther, because Gunther is, in my opinion, one of the next big things in the WWE. I think, and I mean that in, he's already putting out great work. He's already great. But I think over these next couple years, and I think in the year 2023, we're going to get a huge push for Gunther. I think having somebody that most people would not see coming, like come in and win the Rumble. I think that's always a risky move, to do someone that, like, it would really be a swerve, such as Gunther. But and the way I'm looking at Gunther is kind of, where does he go from here? If we're not going to do this Brock Lesnar thing that they're going to end up, that there's rumors of, and then there's rumors that they're not going to do it now. But if that's not what they're gonna do, then I just don't know what exactly is next for Gunther besides getting a world title shot. Because he has been so dominant. He was putting on debatably the match of the year. Didn't win the match of the year award, but it was a match of the year candidate against Sheamus at Clash in the Castle. He's incredibly over with the crowd.
He put on a really good match against Braun Strowman too.
Yeah, dude, and dude, he made Braun look awesome, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just gonna say, yeah, Gunther. Like I said, I think, he's one person that, like I said, surprising the crowd kind of, and swerving for somebody else that they may not have seen coming to win the Rumble. It's something, one, that they've done before, and two, but they've done before and they've done it very unsuccessfully. But I think Gunther is one of the few people on the roster that nobody would really see coming, but I don't think anybody would be upset about it. I think a Gunther and Imperium versus the Bloodline going into WrestleMania would be pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think that if Gunther wins, he would get a huge pop.
That's what I mean. Like, I think if Gunther wins, the crowd would go fucking nuts.
Yeah, it would be sick. So,
And
yeah, that's a great choice.
that's what I'm just gonna say. So I'll say this: if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, there's slim chance he does, obviously, because he's in it, and I made my pick, and I think he would be a good choice, and he's over as fuck, and a lot of reasons that he could win, but obviously a lot of reasons that he probably won't win. But I'm gonna give you my early call next year. We'll clip it, dude. Gunther is winning the 2024 Royal Rumble. If
Okay.
he does not somehow win it, if he doesn't win it this year, that's my pick for the 2024 Royal Rumble, barring injury. Gunther.
Nice. Yeah. Great pick. Love me some Gunther. I've been a Gunther fan since he was Walter in NXT UK. So I'm happy that he's transitioned nicely to the main roster. He's having a hell of an Intercontinental Championship title run. I'm hoping they make him the longest IC champion in history. Someone said it was the Honky Tonk Man at like 1,300 days or something. It was some absurd amount. But I think they should do it. I think you would have to hold the title up until
like
September, I believe.
1,300 days, bro. That's like 4 years.
That's probably the wrong number. I know I did the math. He would have to hold it for like September.
Okay. I was gonna say 1,300 days is like 4 years, just about.
Maybe. How long is? Do you know how long he's?
It's like 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's some Bruno Sammartino.
He's definitely not had it for 3 years. He definitely has not had it for 2 years. I don't think he's had it for a year.
I think
he might have had it for a year by now.
The IC title?
Gunther may have been champion for a year by now.
Hold on, let me look it up. I thought it was only like 6
I mean,
months.
He's been the champion the entire time we've been doing this podcast.
That is true. Let's figure this out.
And we're on like 35. Yeah, shout out to Gunther. Great IC title run.
Shout out to Gunther. Shout out to cagematch.net. It is the professional wrestling database. If you need to figure out anything, head over to cagematch.net. Not a sponsor. All right, let's figure this bad boy out. Give me 1 second here. 223 days.
Oh, so he hasn't been champion for a year. He's probably won like just before we started doing the pod, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah,
who did he beat for it? He beat Shinsuke or did he beat Sammy?
I thought he beat Ricochet.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. I don't know why I thought that.
It is your fucking bad, you idiot.
All right. Yeah, let's go to your next, Mark. Who's your next pick of someone who needs to win the Rumble?
All right. So my second person is Montez Ford. Ford. They were talking about giving him a singles push a few months ago. That didn't happen. I feel like they did hint at it just based off of his body language, and they've been losing a lot at the time. He's dealing with some injuries. He was out for a little bit, but then they came back. I think he's a good option for someone who could win it if they wanted to give him a singles push. And because they're not going after the Raw tag titles, because I thought they were going to win the tag team turmoil on Monday Night Raw, but they didn't. So I think if they're going to push Montez Ford, if they want to build and elevate someone, why not do it at the Rumble? Why not have Montez Ford be the person? He is an unreal athlete. He's everything you could want in a world champion. So I think Montez Ford is a great pick for someone who needs to win the Royal Rumble match. We've talked about it before. They should really use the Rumble to elevate someone, to push them up into that next stratosphere. And I think Montez Ford is someone that they will push up to that stratosphere and they will have zero regrets about it. So I think he's someone who could be the biggest star in the company. So what better way to elevate him than to have him win the 2023 Royal Rumble match?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I love Montez Ford. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We think super charismatic. And it would suck to break up the Street Profits. And Dawkins is great as well. And especially lately, he's done so much work to just get so much better, on the mic and in the ring. But yeah, I mean, Montez Ford. I mean, obviously, we see with his wife. When she got she got a push, and it brought her to the moon, man. He's married to Bianca Belair, and yeah, Montez. He's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. He's got the fiery passion for it. And I think if it does happen, I would love to see a little change up of the character, though. He doesn't have to get rid of the Street Profit shit, but maybe like a little more serious. You know what I mean? If we're going after a world title.
Yeah.
A Montez heel turn where he came out in suits all the time, I think would be cool. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like Suits holding the title with like sunglasses on. I could just see Montez
Yeah.
like looking cool as shit with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
Crushing red Solo cups.
yeah, yeah. All right. So my pick, my third and final pick of the person who needs to win the Royal Rumble is the person that I am holding out hope, that I am praying that they make the decision to do it. That Triple H decides, you know what? I have the fucking balls to do this. Let's see, Triple H. I love you. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think overall, he's done a very good job since being in charge of creative. But let's see if you have the cojones, brother. Let's see if you have the guts to have the honorary use Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble. I mean, I feel like we all saw that one coming. He had to be one of the people on this list. Give it to me. Give me the honorary use. I made a TikTok about it months ago that the honorary use needs to win the Royal Rumble. Did I not, Mark?
I can confirm you did.
Months ago that the honorary use needs to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, this guy, like I said earlier when I was talking about Cody, I said Cody might be the most over wrestler. Yeah, the guy that he might not be as over as is fucking Sami Zayn, dude. Sami Zayn is so over. Every single thing he does is next level right now. The storytelling, the facial expressions, the body language. I am so bought into this bloodline storyline, dude. Like, how could you not be? Sami Zayn is showing you that he puts out some of the greatest work in the business. He's top tier when it comes to telling a story. And let's not forget how amazing the guy is in the ring. He's incredible. And when
Underrated,
he gets a proper
for
chance
sure.
to showcase it, he always shows up and he always does a great job. He has so many great matches, especially in NXT. He wasn't given a proper chance to really I feel like, you know, ever since his heel turn, he hasn't given he hasn't been taken as seriously like in ring, but like to not let that make you forget that this guy is one of the best in-ring wrestlers you know, on the planet, really, when it comes down to it. He's so good, so talented. And Sami Zayn is just about as over as anybody on the roster. He's the most over guy on the roster. He's the most over wrestler on the planet. Let's be honest. He's the most over wrestler in the planet. I mean, and the pop, if Sami fucking Zayn, dude, like is like staring at like, I don't know, like Jay or something. Like they're like, or I don't know, just like something, just like who's just like in the corner and Sammy's just like looking around and he just goes and just haluva kick over to win the Rumble. Like, dude,
you know what you know what I thought? I literally just thought of this. What if this is how they end the Royal Rumble? Final four: Jimmy, Jay, Solo, and Sammy. And they all are in each four corner. Sammy's in one, and then they all sort of three just go to corner Sammy. And then he just like eliminates them all and wins, just stares and points WrestleMania sign as they do.
dude,
And he rips off his honorary Oos t-shirt.
Yeah, rips it. Sammy's, dude, we need the Sami Zayn.
Yes.
We need, dude. I mean, the pop. I would cry if Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble.
Cry.
I will fucking cry, dude.
I will cry for
like,
sure.
He will cry.
Yeah.
Dude, and
everyone will
like,
cry.
Yeah, like it's gonna be amazing.
And I told you this before we went on, but like if he dethrones Roman for the WWE Championship,
dude,
like it would be the greatest wrestling moment of our lives. Like
I agree,
no doubt about it.
I think it would be my favorite wrestling thing to ever happen, and I don't know if anything would ever be able to top it.
Yeah, and I mean, it would easily go down as one of the best moments in wrestling history, but I know for just us in our lives, like it would be the single greatest wrestling moment of our lives. So,
bro, we're so bought in. Like, Sammy is it, dude. He is it. He is the one. He is the one. Sammy is the one. Oos. But yeah, dude, I think we can all agree how much we would love Sami Zayn to win the Royal Rumble. And I'm not saying that it would be a huge surprise and that everyone, I mean, it would kind
I
of be
think it would be a big surprise.
I think it would be a pretty big surprise, but not a surprise to whereas people were like, oh, that's like not the surprise. It would be a different type of surprise as if Gunther won. Because if Gunther won, you'd be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Gunther. Like, that came out of nowhere. But if Sammy won, the surprise is, I can't believe they actually fucking did it. I can't believe they actually fucking did it. Like, that's the surprise. Like, so, Triple H, you got it from the burning hammer. You got the cosign, brother. Show us that you got the balls. You got the cojones. Pull the trigger. Sami Zayn needs to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And I mean, even going back before he had the storyline with the Bloodline, like I forgot about his WrestleMania match with Johnny Knoxville, like all of that stuff, all the stuff with Logan Paul, like that stuff was good. His match with Johnny Knoxville at the Royal Rumble was awesome. So do it, Triple H, do it. And so my final person staying in the family, I've got Solo Sikoa. Speaking of the next big thing in professional wrestling, that is Solo Sikoa. I think he is going to be the next advocate for Paul Heyman. I think once this stuff's done with Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman is going to be the manager of Solo Sikoa, the street champ. I think he may be getting presented the best out of anyone in the Bloodline. I mean, the way they've been presenting him since he got called up from NXT is unmatched. He's awesome. He made so many new fans. He put so many people on who he is, and I think that he would be a great person to win the Royal Rumble match.
I love that the Samoan Spike is his signature now, dude.
Yeah,
love it.
It's
love
sick.
it. Such a good move. Such a good call.
Yeah,
they I'm so happy they pulled the trigger on that and had him start doing that because he obviously wanted to, and then
yeah.
And it's like he's good at it too.
Yeah, and I know I think I tweeted it, but I also know I told you about it before. I still think Solo Sikoa plays a big role in this The Rock and Bloodline thing because
I agree.
He's just like the way because they brought him in and they said he was sent by the elders. Like that isn't by accident. Like them wording it that way is on purpose. If it wasn't
especially because ever since one of the first things Triple H did when he took over creative was bringing in someone new to be in charge of like long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
And then what's the first thing that happens at a Triple H pay-per-view? Clash in the Castle. Solo Sikoa debuts. So
and I think that he is the next big thing. And I think that I told you before, but I think he could turn on the Bloodline and sort of align himself with The Rock. And because also like I know he's the street champ and I know it's not really in his character, but like he's always so serious, you know? And I think that even like Jimmy and Jay, who like are serious at times, but even they sort of like joke around with Sammy and Paul and stuff. But like Solo is always so serious. It's like he's on a mission, sent down by the elders. So I think that he's going to play a big role in this Bloodline storyline and ultimately possibly setting up The Rock versus Roman. I think he could come into play at the Royal Rumble, but I think he is someone else who needs to win the Royal Rumble, not only for storyline purposes, but to help build the next big star in WWE.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love Solo, man. I was gonna say I don't know if we're gonna have time to do like all our Royal Rumble stuff. Maybe we should just push that for next week. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that.
But I was gonna say rather than that, I just thought of this. Like I think I want to like name off a few people that are kind of like dark horses that have a slight chance to win. And I want you to tell me if you think like how you think their crowd would react.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So like I think we can agree Gunther would get a big pop.
Big pop, yes.
Big pop. Would Jey Uso get a big pop?
Yes.
So that's like I think Jey Uso would get a big pop. The only thing is that like people would just be like, if you have Jay win, why not just have Sammy win? Like, I think that would be people's thing.
I think enough people respect and understand that Jey Uso is super slept on that if he did win, like people would freak out. Now the next day they may have some questions, but I think in the
Yeah,
moment, people's immediate reaction would be to
I
freak
would
out.
pop. I'd
I would
pop.
pop. I got someone for
Yeah.
you,
Who?
Logan Paul.
I would not pop. No, I would pop. I would not pop. I believe the crowd would boo.
I would pop from anger.
Yeah, I believe the
My
crowd would
head
boo.
would pop. Yeah. Vince McMahon.
Yeah, they would boo.
They'd probably storm the ring and murder.
Yeah. Let me think of. I felt like there was somebody else. What about L.A. Knight?
LA Knight would get a massive pop.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I think he's gonna win Money in the Bank. He has to.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be great for his character.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
he's a shoo-in to win Money in the Bank.
and I could see
Bring
the
back
way
some
he.
prestige in the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I
Yeah,
think he
dude.
should be the first person that holds it for like a year, you know?
Dude,
That would be
I
sick.
wish. I hope they bring back one of my. I don't think they're gonna, but I really want them to bring back Money in the Bank to Mania.
I think they will.
You think this year? You think they're gonna?
Not this year.
Gotcha. You
I
think they're gonna
next year.
get rid of the Money in the Bank pay per view? And
Yeah, because
bro, you think we get a Money in the Bank match at Mania next year?
Oh shit. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Dude, yeah. Yeah.
That would be fucking sick.
That would be awesome.
That would be really sick.
Yeah.
So my hopes for like next year in Philly, I want to get like my big things I'm holding out for is the return of the Money in the Bank ladder match. And Paul Heyman Hall of Fame induction.
Gotta happen. For sure.
So
Easy.
but I think that just about wraps us up, man.
Yeah. It's about that time. Next week we are going to be doing our Royal Rumble predictions. Dillon's going to be putting up his title in a Philly street fight against me, your challenger. So stay tuned for that. The best way to stay up to date with when we release new episodes of the podcast is to make sure to follow us on our social media accounts. On Twitter, we are at The Burnt Hammer. On TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, we are at The Burning Hammer. That's the best way to stay up to date with when we release new episodes, plus any and everything involving professional wrestling news, rumors, reports. Make sure to follow us on there because we do post that stuff on there as well. If you're watching on YouTube, we are available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are on there. If you are watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. We are going to be posting on YouTube a lot more. You can follow me on Twitter at @MarkIzzo_wave. You can follow Dillon on Twitter at DillO'Brien_wave. And me and Dillon write professional wrestling on VendettaSportsMedia.com. So make sure to check out VendettaSportsMedia.com. Not only do they cover professional wrestling, but any and every sport, along with gaming, television, movies, you name it, they cover it. Visit VendettaSportsMedia.com. Make sure to follow them on Twitter at VendettaVSM, and make sure to follow them on Instagram and TikTok at Vendetta Sports Media. That about wraps it up. I'm Mark Izzo. He's Dillon O'Brien. And this has been another episode of, say with me, everybody, the Burning Hammer Podcast. We'll catch you next week. That title's mine.